going to try to make another audio here. No point in making a video because nobody wants to see my ugly face. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is just read a little bit. I was trying to find a particular article that was basically just propaganda and bad news. It was good news in a way, but it was also not not pleasant what I read, and I couldn't find that particular article. So, but the words I was using in my search popped this particular article up. So, first of all, some background on this article. It's from an organization called Newsweek. Okay, so these are the same people who took a massive dump on Pons and Fleischmann when they discovered cold fusion. So these are the same people. Newsweek, owned by originally owned by Mellon Bank people. This is the Chris Mellon. This is the guy caught telling lies to news media and people. Um, this is the same. Well, we can get into more detail about Newsweek and these unidentified celebrities that all of a sudden have got all these subscribers and they're able to live stream and do all this. I've been on there I've been on YouTube for 7 years and they won't let me live stream. They say you got to have at least 1,000 subs and all this. So, I'm not going to talk about the shadiness that's going on around YouTube right now or Newsweek either. I might do a whole thing on just Newsweek alone. But there's plenty of other fake news out there too. For example, the little article was about myself and my co-inventor. It was in Popular Science magazine way back in 1995. It was highly elusive and deceptive and inaccurate. It was inaccurate. It said, "Oh, they hope to market in the field of virtual reality." No, we were actually hoping to promote the idea of virtual reality, which is what our invention was. There was no field of virtual reality prior to the invention of virtual reality as a type of video game system. And so these are the people, or assuming these are actual human people, possibly aliens or just time travelers and Chinese operatives from the future or what, I don't know. Whoever these people were are still are obviously controlling your fake news that you have access to. So it's all just propaganda and mind control games. But I wanted to read this article because I was searching for something else because I wanted to just show, I was really just wanted to illuminate the modus operandi, the methods by which whatever this evil force of evil is that does these things. So, anyways, enough said about all that. But just again, bear in mind that this article is not real news. This is totally fake news because it's from Newsweek. Whenever I see Newsweek, I say, "Oh, these are the people who said that Pons and Fleischmann were liars. They didn't know what they were talking about. They didn't have any credentials. They wanted to erase their background. All this." Same people said, "Oh, Bob Lazar, he has no, he never went to school at MIT. He never did this." That's another name that keeps popping up, like Harvard and MIT. They always seem to pop in there um, when you investigate these type of things. Like, well, who wanted to discredit Pons and Fleischmann and why? What is it about cold fusion that they don't want people to know, and why? Why? I'm always looking for those motives too. What is their motive behind suppressing science, suppressing human life, and making people's lives more miserable instead of easier? Computers were supposed to make life easier for people. Now we're basically just slaves to the machine. Like, if you want to eat, you better get up on time and do this on time, and you have to do it this way. You have no freedom. No one has any freedom anymore to speak of. But, well, I'm going to get away from all those kind of conspiracies about the computers and who it is, what it is. Is it aliens? Is it Chinese? Is it the computer itself? What's going on there? Hopefully, it's not the computer. Hopefully, the computer is still on my side, or the side of humanity, or the side of the United States of America, is who I'm kind of representing. Best interests of my American people, not Exxon's people, not the Israeli government's people, not Putin's people, not the Chinese communist people, my people, fucking Americans. Okay, we're real Americans. Um, so, anyways, okay, so I'll read the article. Start reading the article now. Astronomers have captured an image of a SpaceX rocket segment, and they really hard on SpaceX. It's another thing you see all the time. Oh, electric cars will never work right. Oh, this they just constantly, oh well, a self-driving car crashed itself. They always just want to rag Tesla and give them a hard time, or SpaceX. It's like always downplaying anything, and you don't see anything about SpaceX in this sort of mainstream news, like Newsweek. They don't talk about the successes. It's always just going to be, oh, something they did wrong. It's never anything they did good doesn't get talked about. That's highly conspicuous. It's highly sus. When they refuse to talk about what you did good, they only want to just highlight what you're doing wrong. That's very highly suspicious. Anyway, it says the Falcon 9 rocket's second stage has spent around 7 years in space after having launched from Cape Canaveral in February of 2015 as part of a mission to deploy the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's Deep Space Climate Observatory, or Discover, satellite. After releasing the satellite, the second stage of the rocket had too little fuel to return to Earth and found itself in a somewhat chaotic orbit influenced by the gravity of our planet and the moon. Okay, so it was maybe halfway, somewhere around that Lagrange point. So that's okay. That's understandable. Blah blah blah, and it says it will strike the far side of the moon near its equator on March 4th of 2022 at a colossal speed of around 5,700 miles per hour. That kind of didn't, when I first saw that, that's what sort of triggered me, like the truth detector thing is going off there, because it takes 18, you have to get up to 18,000 miles per hour to escape Earth's gravity. Its escape velocity is 18,000 miles per hour. So, um, obviously, it had to do some braking, but now it says it didn't have enough fuel to return to Earth, so it did some braking. So, we can let that slide. That explains that then. Um, no, I was really just looking for who it is that keeps using this phrase "useful idiots," and it's always seems to be something to do about how solar power is never going to work right. Don't do it. No, these are just useful idiots that are going to prove, that we were right all along, or this or that. I don't know. So it's the ones that are using this phrase, or the one who uses the phrase "useful idiots." Now, if I feel like I'm using someone, or if someone's helping me, I wouldn't call them useful idiots. I don't use pawns. I don't have pawns. I don't use pawns. Only evil ones or evil people would use pawns in such a way. Uh, if I think someone's an idiot, I would try to enlighten them and open their mind, open the doors of their perception. If I couldn't do it, then I would just, just sort of let them let them be. Just go about your merry way. Come visit sometime if you want, but I'm not going to try to convince you of anything. I'm not going to try to open your eyes anymore if you simply refuse to open your eyes. Um, but yeah, there's definitely something bad wrong with our sources of information and news. We are not getting accurate news and information. Never have. Even pre-internet, or even back in early internet days. Everything has a spin, and it's just people trying to control the world or whatever. But it doesn't look good from where I'm sitting. Looks very looks like everybody's headed on the wrong path. Everybody, the entire planet. Well, let me read some more of this article. Uh, it says that talking about tracking space debris. Uh, Space debris travels at high speeds, posing a threat to spacecraft in orbit due to risk of collisions. But despite worries about the increasing quantity of space junk, experts told Newsweek that the upcoming collision of the SpaceX rocket segment with the moon shouldn't cause too much concern, at least for now. I've been asked whether we should be concerned and still haven't come up with any negative consequences, Gray told Newsweek. Objects of this size or larger hit the moon fairly often and usually at considerably greater speeds. Yeah, like meteors are going to be going much faster than 5,700 miles an hour, or 57,000. No, it was 5,700 miles an hour. Yeah. This is a 4-ton object hitting at 2.58 kilometers per second. Impact speeds of 10 to 20 kilometers per second are common for asteroids hitting the moon. I agree. So, oh well, just a fun little diversionary article there, and no useful or meaningful information. Who cares about space junk hitting the moon or space junk hitting the Earth? Really has nothing to do about the progression of human development and evolution. It has nothing to do about protecting the environment. It has nothing to do about creating a real democracy or promoting nonviolent means of social change. Yeah, it's just a totally diversionary thing. Another thing that really bothers me is like, why are they called conservatives if they don't believe in conserving anything? These so-called conservatives just mow down the whole forest without any thought of the lives, the creatures that live there. Um, I was thinking about all of the ghostly occurrences that's been happening in my neighborhood in recent times, and it all seemed to begin right after they cleared these woods. This little neighborhood used to be surrounded by woods. Not long after they clear cut those woods, we started having all sorts of like all my neighbors, not all my neighbors, but several different neighbors have reported seeing strange things. I even had a witness to a couple of these events. One was what you'd call a UFO. It was just sort of an apparition in the sky. And another one was what you would call maybe a ghostly apparition, like just a blue light that appeared. And I had two other witnesses with me that time, so it wasn't hallucination, wasn't doing drugs or something. Um, totally clean for quite a while too. So you know, I don't think like I think you probably if you were on drugs, you'd be less inclined to see something out of the ordinary. That's just my personal opinion. Um, when people are on a steady medication, they just tend to get set in their ways and set in their belief structures as to what they are, or how that's even possible, or why. You know, those are questions that are totally up for debate. But I've seen some things I just can't explain. This one day, I'm gonna go ahead and get back to the ghost stories type of stuff. You know, these are not spooky stories. There's no like, you're not me, and it happened to me. So how could you be afraid of what's happening to me, right? Who cares what happens to me? You know, it shouldn't affect you at all. Um, you, the person watching or listening to this video. Um, so I'm talking to this young man. This was a friend's son, and I thought, well, I could help this guy establish a business because, like, I have a customer base I know that's still out there. These people that know me and remember me, and I could help him print up some business cards, and he could take me around since I don't have a vehicle. I don't actively choose not to burn gasoline if I can help it. So, but he does have a vehicle and tools and skills, and so I thought, well, I could help him print up some business cards. We could go around. I could, get his name out there to these ladies. I call them, this little group of ladies, that north side ladies that all know each other and stuff. And once his name gets out there and he does a couple jobs, you do just one or two really good jobs, and then then when they're talking to each other, oh, I need somebody to fix this. Oh, well, you need to call so and so. He's the best one out there and everything. I mean, well, Sunsaver said he's the best, so he's got to be the best. And that's how those sort of things work. And so I was basically just listening to him and hoping to get an opportunity to interject and say, look, well, here's how I could contribute. I could just help you get set up, and you could make some good money, and then you could buy yourself a new place. You could buy your mom a new, better place or whatever. And anyways, just trying to be helpful when I was going to make this suggestion, which I ultimately did, and it just got shot down. Like, ah, well, you're just some poor old guy. There's no way you could help me start a business. you know, he's like, just they all just kind of blew it off. Like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. That's just a crazy bike guy. So, but anyways, so I'm listening to this man, young man, talking, and in between us, there's this jar, flat bottom, wide mouth jar, full of pens and pencils, but not stacked top heavy or anything like this. It literally is just very stable on a solid ground. We're on foundation. There's no earthquakes or nothing. I'm sitting there talking. There's two other people around the table too. So I don't know what they saw, but or what they experienced. But I'm sitting here listening to him, and all of a sudden, uh, like I felt this sense of like I want to interject and tell him, look, I could help him continue this if this is what he really wants to do. I could help him get established, and get his business growing. And right when I had that sort of burst of energy, so I don't know if it came from me or came from outside. Again, this is the son of the man that had recently died a couple years before too. If this was a haunted house thing, so take it for what it's worth. This pencil holder or jar, wide mouth jar, just slams over, and half the pens kind of fall out. And I just like, what? Like my eyes got huge, and I was like, whoa! Did you? I'm thinking, did he just see this? Well, he just sort of keeps talking. He reaches and picks it up and stands it back up, like, oh, I didn't mean to knock that over. No, he didn't knock it over. I didn't knock it over, and he didn't knock it over. It was in between us, and we had our hands at our side. Something knocked it over. So Either this was some sort of telekinetic power that came out of me or him, or some ghost did it, or some invisible entity with physical abilities did it. Something knocked that thing over. I know what I saw. And I wish a camera had been there filming it. Like I wish they had a secret hidden camera had captured the whole thing. Um, I kind of looked around. It seemed like one or two other people did look somewhat surprised, but maybe not. I don't know. I just remember that he didn't seem to notice, and I finally interrupted him. I said, dude, you didn't knock that over, did you? And he just kind of, was like, nah. And I was like, well, I didn't knock it over. I mean, did you not just? I mean, you picked it up and set it back up. So didn't you see it fall over? Who knocked it over? Very strange story. I have no answers. I have no answer for how it happened. Why nobody else seemed to take notice of it. Like, also, that's another thing. It's like, wouldn't that be kind of setting off some sort of alarm bells? Shouldn't it be setting off some kind of alarm bells? Everybody just kind of blew it off. All just more unexplained stuff. So, but whenever I start digging into the fake news and what's wrong with my world, I keep coming back to some of these same names. You know, I look into the mysteries of Nikola Tesla. Why was he gone for 100 years and nobody ever talked about him? Except for there was like every now and then you'd be like a something Tesla. I remember there was a rock band called Tesla. These guys I used to work with in the 80s, late 80s, they were really big Tesla fans. And I was like, what? Tesla, you talking about the guy that they named a unit of flux density after? Who? I said, yeah, there was a guy named Tesla that did some work on, magnetism, and they named the unit of flux density Tesla's, number of Teslas. And no, it's a rock band called Tesla. So then that sort of got me curious right there. But nowhere did it talk about, oh, Tesla. You mean the guy that invented AM radio, FM radio, the coax cable? He invented like the VTOL aircraft, all sorts of things that he invented that he just, and then what? They turned him into a monster. This is Frankenstein monster. It's all just, oh, don't look at him because he's scary. Um, Everything he invented, they slapped Westinghouse name on there. Westinghouse didn't invent any of that. The only thing Westinghouse invented was the air brake for trains. All the rest of that was Nikola Tesla, his friend that he took in and was taking care of this guy. But it just goes to show you how news and society works. These parasites at the top of the food chain literally just are stealing stuff from the true creators or the true creator, assuming that there is one higher creator above them too. One of these days they're going to wake up and realize what they've been doing and that someone's doing it to them too. They're going to think, oh, I thought I was the Sun King. Well, what's above the sun? What's on the other side of the sun? Okay. Evil hides in daylight, in plain sight. That's all for this video. Thanks for listening.